Welcome to the Gooner Fanzine Arsenal Women podcast. Well, if you're watching on YouTube, I was going to say like my jacket, North London is red, but if you're listening, then that's going to make no difference. But once again, North London is very much red. The combined score between the men's and the women's teams, the senior teams anyway, is 11-1 in the four games between them this season. So it's been a very good season for Arsenal against Tottenham. I've got Daisy and Izzy alongside me again, both of whom were at Emirates Stadium. Izzy, we'll start with you. Your first time in the Emirates press box on a big day for the Gooner as well. But personally, I guess just talk us through the day as a whole and how you found it all.
Yeah, it was such a great experience. I sort of got there quite early, so felt the whole build up in the stadium. Got to see the stadium completely empty first, which was quite fun, and then just kind of watched it fill up to what was it, 56,000 fans in the end, which was amazing. Really good atmosphere. I think definitely, I don't know if you would agree, Daisy, but one of the best Emirates atmospheres I've experienced for sure. And yeah, very busy press box because obviously it was a big game. Lots of interesting people to talk to. And yeah, very happy Renee Slagers afterwards, which was nice. And she was really pleased with the performance from the girls. And yeah, I had such a great day there. As you said, North London is red, great 5-0 win. I've only ever had 5-0 wins when I've been in the press box, which is
Yeah.
record so far. But yeah, really good atmosphere. They did some they had quite a lot of people sort of pitch side and they had Gunnosaurus going around. Obviously it was BBC, so there was lots going on for fans and lots of stuff. And yeah, saw loads of people walking around with their brand new Gooners, so that was really exciting as well.
Yeah, we'll come on to that. I guess just from your perspective, then, if you were to, we all know as fans what it's like going from Meadow Park to the Emirates. But obviously, the first game you did with me was that Bristol City game at Meadow Park in the FA Cup. How different was it doing a game at the Emirates? Because I think the first thing that hit me, and more than anything, was the Wolfsburg game when we sold it out. Was actually working in such a loud environment. Really took some getting used to. I haven't had maybe many games, many experiences like that. What are the biggest differences? Purely journalistically, I guess, in the two games that you've done at those different venues.
Well, I'd say definitely it was a bit warmer this time, not much, but yeah, you've got a little bit more cover than you have at Meadow Park, which is sort of exposed to everything. I mean, the whole experience is different because obviously they've got a much better setup at the Emirates for the press, and so there's a better you can sit inside to do your write-ups afterwards, which was great, and you can go to the media theatre, so it's all a little bit more professional. Still just as great of an experience, but yeah, a lot louder as you say, because you are literally sitting between the
Mm.
fans, whereas I feel like at Meadow Park it's similar, but the North Bank's obviously a lot louder and you're a bit more removed from there. So yeah, but it kind of I think added to the sort of intensity and the excitement of working there because you've really felt like you were involved and that sort of as an Arsenal fan being slightly more neutral in the press box, it was quite nice to still feel part of the celebrations and stuff when they're all going around you.
And Daisy, you were interviewed pitchside for the big screen. I saw many pictures coming out on Sunday, as was Jamie Tart from Ted Lasso, which I'm furiously rewatching and very much enjoying at the moment. I'm not quite sure why he was there. I haven't seen that interview. But Daisy, how did that come about? I think it was to do with the gay Gooners, am I right in thinking? And congratulations. And what an opportunity. You literally had the Arsenal squad training behind you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it was amazing. And yeah, it was actually Farah from the supporters club, who obviously we have high praise for. Fantastic person, does a lot of work for Arsenal. I was going to praise her anyway for all the work that she did in like the before the game, making things like the band and the chants on the screen happen. And as you said, obviously improved the atmosphere massively. But yeah, it came about through that, and it just added to what was pretty much a perfect day. I remember like going into the pub before pre-match was incredible. I met two people, was advertising the Gooner to them, and they'd come from Denmark for their first ever game, and
Wow.
this was their first experience. I was like, well, strap in because it's going to be a great day from start to finish. This was at 10 o'clock in the morning, so yeah, I did the fan walk, and then obviously got to go pitchside, which was amazing. And when they actually started the interview, I was just preoccupied with looking at what was going on behind because I was just like you say, they literally were right behind us, and that's probably the closest I've ever been to a lot of those players. So yeah, amazing experience, and obviously get to talk about something that I'm hugely passionate about, not just at the club, but in terms of society as well. So it was great to get to speak, and nerve-wracking. And also there's a huge delay between when you're speaking to him and what comes out towards everyone else. So I got to get used to that. Not quite the same as filming on a Zoom and doing a little podcast and things like that. But yeah, amazing experience. And then I said, if the girls don't go and win now, then I'm just gonna be annoyed that that's ruined the day. But they knew, they saw that what they needed to do, and they performed excellently. So can't complain.
Yeah, that's some pressure. Everybody in the stadium. I mean, I don't know if a Bukayo Saka and co had turned up by then, but you never know
Don't
who's
say that.
yeah. And his little dog, which is absolutely adorable that his dog was allowed to come in. That's really special privileges. But you've spoken, you've written so well, about LGBTQ plus, and what it means to you, what it means for LGBT fans of the women's game, the further work that society and football needs to be doing and is doing, and talking about the supporters club. So, again, it just feels, and looking around the crowd, looking at how you were received on the big screen, there are still these differences, between men's and women's football in that regard. But just the fact that this is so prominent, I guess, at a women's game, you must have felt so supported, I guess, in the fact that you were able to stand up there, you felt comfortable to stand up there and talk about these things.
Yeah, 100%. And I obviously wrote that piece quite a while back for the Gooner, and it's still just as relevant today. Like being able to speak about it, kind of relating to a lot of the points that I made in that original article about kind of how much, it's so much more than football, especially in the women's game. I'm sure most people would agree with me, and I agreed with the others that were stood beside me saying the same thing. Obviously, for Nirali, who was beside me as well, who got to speak as a South Asian woman and be able to have that opportunity, she was just saying you just wouldn't get this anywhere else. It's a different world for her, and it's an opportunity to be open and speak about these things. And when we walked back, the whole of Block 10 was just clapping and singing and praising us. So honestly, it was amazing, and like you say, the environment has allowed that to happen. And if it's somebody watching in the crowd or listening or paying attention and resonating with it and not being in the same position that I'm in, to be blessed to be so comfortable and so confident and have come a long way, then it's obviously hugely important, and it will make hopefully a difference to them and beyond that as well. So yeah, honestly, it was incredible. And yeah, honestly, I'm still not sure it's hit me yet, to be honest, but it's great to be able to have these opportunities, and I'm so grateful that Farah trusted me in that.
No, it is amazing. I think, I hope you don't mind me saying this, but from when we first met and chatted on Zoom, and you sort of became part of the Gooner team, I don't know if you would have been comfortable enough to do that back then. I don't know if you'd agree.
100%, yeah. And obviously these podcasts, we've kind of got to kind of know a lot more about kind of how to speak, but it is a lot different when you're doing it live. But also because I think when you're talking to him, you can really only hear you and him. That does kind of take away from the fact that you're speaking to the whole stadium, and then actually watching it back, I'm like, that's when it hits you. So it's nice in that sense. But yeah, definitely come a long way, and obviously great to work with such a great team at the Una who helped with that. So
Yeah, we'll do the Gooner later on in the show because people are obviously crying out for some analysis on the football, but we'll obviously talk about the first printed edition of the Gooner Fanzine, which we obviously teased last week, and I'm sure if you're listening or watching, you'll be very well aware by now of what's happened there. But we'll talk about that because again, just a phenomenal day. We're so excited with how that went, so we'll come on to that later. But Arsenal 5, Tottenham 0. This just seemed like a vintage sort of women's North London derby display, in all honesty. Tottenham's win over Arsenal last season, that was the first ever in League and Cup, I think, against the Gunners. I think there was a draw previously, but Tottenham had never beaten Arsenal. Of course, they've had a bit of a rise in the women's game. And this just felt like, I mean, this season, when you look back at when they beat Arsenal at their place last season, Robert Villahan was sort of speaking, saying this could be a real turning point in terms of how we close down on the top four, top three, and can we push on from here? And Spurs, they're a fascinating one because it seems there's a lot of teams at the moment who've almost got tactical ideas beyond their station, if you like. They're trying to play certain brands of football, and maybe the playing personnel don't quite facilitate that, and that's then playing into the hands of the bigger sides, if you like. And Arsenal have really taken advantage of that, Izzy, under Rene Slagers.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think you're right. Listening to Robert Villaham afterwards, he was really disappointed with what happened, and he'd kind of said that once Arsenal got their first goal, then it was sort of floodgates open, and they really struggled to stay in the game after that, which I think was quite obvious on the day. And he was sort of saying that these the top clubs, top three, top four, are able to draw in these huge international talents and sort of that means that they can perform at these high levels. And he said, as a club, they're trying to look for these English talents and then look elsewhere. But you have to think potentially they need to have a look at who they bring in the summer window, because it's a big football club. They've got the funding. It's just whether they can kind of reach a sort of structure that works and means they can challenge these sides. Because on Sunday, I mean, to me, it just didn't look like that they were going to score a goal or they were going to, be threatening at all. It was very Arsenal dominated, which is obviously what we like to see. But yeah, I mean, Daphne von Domsla had a very quiet match her end. I was doing the player ratings and I was struggling to have anything to really say about her other than clean sheet, because she probably had two saves that weren't really even in front of the goal or particularly threatening. So yeah, I think it's a shame for a big club like Tottenham that they're going to come and lose 5-0 to Arsenal, because they've had moments in previous seasons, like getting to the FA Cup final last year, where they've kind of shown that they can do it, but it's clearly not working so well for them at the moment. And yeah, I wonder what needs to change.
It is interesting, Daisy, when you look down the league and some of the teams who are maybe trying to play a little bit more expansively this season. You could factor in Aston Villa, who are a good footballing side, but actually they sit second from bottom in the table. Tottenham trying to be this good footballing side, it's probably paid off a bit more for a team like Brighton. But when you look at Arsenal's historical weaknesses against low blocks, a team's missing out by not coming to the Emirates and sitting back and trying to find some of those weaknesses. As much as Arsenal, I feel, have improved against the low blocks, it does feel like they've come up against less this season because teams are trying to do a bit more against them.
Yeah, 100%. And obviously, there's both sides to that argument. I think if you look at it, you want Tottenham to come and not just sit back against a rival. I think the fact that it's a derby probably plays into that a little bit as well. They saw what they can do when they test Arsenal, and obviously we weren't as good in our performance last season. But I definitely think it's a 50-50 kind of one. For me, I agree, though. I do think Arsenal have been exceptional at playing and figuring out how to play against teams. That's the advantage that we've had this season. We've perfected how to do that. We've learnt, I think the partnerships on the field are probably the best that they've been, the movement, the space that opened up. I mean, we could literally go from Leah Williamson playing a ball through to Ford to Russo, and that was it. It was three passes, and that's what we were kind of screaming out for last season, 100%. I think Mariona Caldente has changed that. We've had a lot of praise for her recently. People, even outside of the Arsenal community coming forward and saying what a signing she's been. It's gone under the radar because she's just been that good, and I think she's changed that side completely in the way that we can transition from one side to the other. I think Tottenham did struggle defensively. I know if we look probably compared to last season, they maybe have got some similarities in there, but they've also brought in, like you said, a lot of players, and a lot of these players aren't quite figuring out how to play together yet. It works sometimes, if you look at when they played Man United, I think it was in the WSL, I think that was 1 or 2-0. It was a very narrow scoreline, but Arsenal just seemed to be able to play through them quite easily, and I do think there were defensive weaknesses in there and defensive mistakes that probably cost them. I did have to feel for Claire Hunt at times. Obviously, the ball just seemed to keep deflecting off her and going completely, in the back of the net. But that is kind of testament also to Arsenal being relentless, taking shots on. And there was even moments where I thought we could have had more. We could have had more goals, we could have had more shots, kind of doing the extra pass, and maybe we didn't need to. But it's not just we're not just playing one way at the moment. We're trying lots of different things. I mean, look at Fox, scoring that goal from outside of the box. We've got goals that are coming from low crosses. We're creating stuff from set pieces at times. So it's really testament, I think, to Renee Slagers. It's not just one way anymore. We're not going to try one thing, fail, and not be able to break them down. It's let's keep going and let's score from multiple different avenues.
Yeah, just looking at the stats, 64% possession for Arsenal, 27 shots to Tottenham's 6, 601 passes to 337. But in the final third, 204 successful final third passes for Arsenal compared to 28 for Spurs. That's quite a remarkable stat because there's possession, isn't there? But there's possession with intent, and Arsenal really have got this attacking intent at the moment in the way they come forward, Izzy. It feels like, every time they're on the edge of the box, they're not looking to go back. They're looking to make something happen with every attack that, that they're able to come up with.
Yeah, I think it was really nice to see them because obviously we've seen a couple of big performances against sort of championship sides and various cups and stuff, but it was nice to see them performing like this on a big stage at the Emirates in a North London derby, and yeah, much more kind of being clinical in front of goal. It was nice to see Alessia Russo looking like she was back on form. I'm sure everyone was happy to see that. She was back in the middle. She had so many shots attempts, and yeah, as you said, we could have had a lot more goals, but yeah, it just looked like we really wanted it on the day. Everyone rose to the occasion, knew that all those fans were there and wanted that win. And yeah, every single player on the pitch was trying to create something. Even I think I saw a stat saying that Khloe Kelly had come on for the last half an hour and she'd had the second most chances created. Like, so, I mean, every single person was working towards scoring more and more goals. And yeah, we ended up with five and different goal scorers from all over the pitch, which is great to see because it keeps it unpredictable and means that it's much more difficult to defend, especially for Tottenham, who are already struggling defensively. They kind of, may not have been able to defend Emily Fox, who's going to kick it from outside the box and score a screamer like that. But yeah, it was great to see so much intensity and passion for getting those goals in on the day.
Daisy, I really want to touch on Mariona Caldente because, I watched the game back earlier. I mean, I had one eye on the cricket as well, so I may be wrong in some observations, but, that's me. But Mariona just seemed to be everywhere. Every time I looked up, she was in a completely different area of the pitch. Took her goal really well, really clinically, as she does, a good finish into the far corner. I still feel like almost we don't value her enough. Mariona Caldente, she doesn't seem to get talked about enough for me.
Yeah, 100%. And I think it's nice, but like I said, when that praise comes from elsewhere, outside of the Arsenal community, because from top journalists and people who are watching the game and have that eye for the sort of analysis side of things, to see them coming out and saying, actually, look at what Mariana Cadente is doing. I think we obviously knew what a talent she was, but 100% she went under the radar at Barcelona too. I think this is kind of what happens in these kind of big sides where you've got the other players. Take Barcelona, for example, you've got Pates, you've got Bonmati, you've got these stars that are obviously just performing at a high level as well. But then you've got the likes of Mariona, who's playing out on the wing, and still, or playing out in multiple positions, whether that's the 10 or the wing or up front, and still scoring 20 goals and more than 10 assists a season. So she's on track as well to probably hit quite good stats this season for Arsenal. I think it's more than that, like you say, she can play wherever she's needed. Also defensively, she is relentless. She will come back. We've talked about this so many times, but she just does. Even in the big games, she shows up. We've now got to take in penalties. I mean, you could just go on all day about what a fantastic signing that is, and 100%, clever from Arsenal also to convince her to leave Barcelona. We know she was there for 10 years, so it's fantastic recruitment, and it seems like she's fitting in really well with the team as well, which I liked. And yeah, now we've got other options. We can potentially look at her operating more in the midfield or even having I think she played on the wing from the start, if I'm correct, because I'm pretty sure Marnham played
Yeah.
with Cairo and Wally. So it's nice to see that we can still utilise her in that way as well. So yeah, all praise to Mariona, and it's nice that she's getting the credit that she deserves.
And just quickly, Daisy, Caitlin Ford, two more assists for her. I think when she was injured, I think maybe we realised her value this season a little bit more. She started the season really well. And we talked about her a lot at the start of the season in terms of when she plays on the right wing, is she is effective, and she's proving at the moment she can be on either side.
Yeah, definitely. It's so nice to have her fully fit. Well, maybe not fully fit, but definitely a lot fitter than she was when she were played in recent games. And we know she has quite a decent record against Spurs. I know she kind of likes them as an opponent. She tends to score a lot against them and great goals as well. But yeah, definitely. I think it may be in recent seasons where she's had periods where we were not sure, and then she's just all of a sudden, I think definitely this season twitched it on. You come to sort of take players for granted a lot of the time. You've got 11 players on the pitch. You probably could have given majority of them player of the match against Spurs. I know Izzy will probably agree. I think you could have given it to many, many players, Fox, Cairo, any of them. But definitely, I mean, Ford is always a talent to have, and we've talked about wingers and the depth that we have in that position. And if we can keep these players fit, bring some more in, obviously we saw Khloe Kelly as well, then we're going to be in a much stronger position, and we maybe won't have to complain as much about squad depth every single week on the podcast.
Just on Chloe Kelly, I think I saw one tweet after the Leicester game, the men's game on Saturday, saying, "What if Chloe Kelly's like Raheem Sterling?" And then Sunday, the same person tweeted, "I'm falling in love with a lone player." So I think that was very quickly put to bed, as was my, suspicion that it's going to be, a successful marriage of convenience for both parties. But Izzy, I mean, the media coverage has been crazy. It was the top women's football story on BBC Sport was about Chloe Kelly playing for Arsenal, a lone player coming in after they've beaten Spurs and these other results have happened over the WSL. But it does really feel like, in this modern age where you're so much more than a footballer, you're this sort of product as well. It does feel Kelly brings that celebrity status, to Arsenal that we saw a lot post Euros was really beneficial for Arsenal and the attendances. Do you feel like she would have played a little role in getting a few more bums on seats on Sunday? And what was the atmosphere like when she came on?
Yeah, I think absolutely she would have played a role in getting a few more people into the stadium because, she's the hero of the Euros in 2022. She scored that winning goal and everyone knows who she is. So, but we've got a lot of other players like that at Arsenal as well. You've got Russo, Leah Williamson, Beth Mead. Everyone loves the Lionesses. It gets a lot of the younger fans in as well, I think. But yeah, the atmosphere when she came on was crazy. I was typing something and I suddenly heard a massive cheer, and it was because she'd taken her jumper off to come on, and I don't think I've heard a cheer as loud as that since Leah Williamson came back after her ACL at the Emirates, and it was a properly crazy atmosphere. And she ran on, did her sort of signature run onto the pitch, and it was really exciting because I think everyone's known recently that she's been so unhappy, and she did look like she'd really enjoyed herself, and especially in the lap at the end of the match she was kind of celebrating with all the girls. She went over and spoke to the BBC, and she just looked like she was really comfortable and really pleased to be playing football again. And then obviously got the England call up after, sadly, Beth Mead had to pull out. But yeah, she looks like she likes being at Arsenal, and I think it'll be exciting to keep watching her because she already made some great contributions on Sunday. So I hope that in maybe games where we're not winning sort of 4-0 by the time she comes on, that she may be able to make some contributions that could have some positive impacts for sure.
I mean, Daisy, when you look at the fixture schedule coming up, obviously it's the international break now, and it'll be interesting to see if she plays in these Nations League games. But, West Ham at home, Liverpool at home in the FA Cup, Everton away, then obviously it's Real Madrid. How much do you see her playing in these next games when it's quite a nice run of fixtures, perhaps up until that Real Madrid doubleheader?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to predict with Renee Slagers. We spoke about the fact that she's not scared to kind of bring people into the team. She is willing to do that, and I think the willingness to bring Chloe Kelly on maybe a little bit, obviously because of the Emirates, but to bring her on 60th minute, we're 4-0 up, or we're confidently up in this game, and she's still coming on. I think that kind of shows the intent. I would expect that probably, especially like we said with managing recovery from injuries and Beth Mead now, we're not sure what that's going to look like. There's a huge opportunity here for her to start at least a couple of those games or have many minutes in those games. I'm interested. I think, I can only echo what Izzy is saying. She looked like she fit into the team really well as well, like in terms of the footballing. She was on set pieces, which I think is interesting. She took a couple of different corners from the other side to where McCabe was taking them. She hit the crossbar. Some of her deliveries into the box were excellent, and they were just sort of missing maybe Russo. Russo put one wide, I think, and Stina nearly got on the end of a couple. So it's another thing that we can add to what she can bring. She was linking up really well with Fox as well, which to say that she's not really been in the team, been in around training very much. Obviously, we know she's not been able to play in these fixtures in the past 2 or 3 games because of the circumstances. So to come in especially and to be able to not only be distracted by the fact that you're getting such a great reception, but to also to automatically play really well with these players, even the ones that she hasn't played with before. I think that shows kind of the kind of player she is on the pitch as well as off of it.
And the England stuff now, obviously, a shame for Mead and Wubben Moy to drop out, but it's almost perfect for Kelly because they've said, well, you're not in the squad, but now you are. Now you can come and
Yeah.
train with us anywhere. But their intent was for her not to be in the squad, which obviously sent her a bit of a message. And now she gets to go and train and maybe get some minutes with England anyway, which is obviously going to be beneficial. Daisy, we know you're an Emily Fox fan. Your afternoon just got better and better, didn't it? In injury time. What a ridiculous goal.
Yeah, I'm not really sure I've recovered from that one either, to be honest. don't know if you've seen the video, but there is video footage of me falling to my knees, so that's great. But yeah, no, honestly, like again, she was one of the players that we probably could have give player of the match to. I think she was fantastic, but she is fantastic every single week. I think it's consistency that she brings. You know, she plays with 100% energy no matter what, even if she is having to play a lot of minutes because she is bar Katie Reid really the only person that can play that position, and I don't see her coming out of that side anytime soon. But you know, we've joked so much about Arsenal not taking those shots, and I think we shouted shoot to Kim Little quite a few times there to the box, who seems to be against shooting at the moment. So when that landed to Fox, a lot of people in that stadium did go and shout shoot, probably a bit optimistically, but she took that invite, and what a goal it was. And she's finally getting, I think, a little bit more praise than she has been getting. I know it's hard for players in those positions to get a lot of credit. You know, it does kind of go to the big names or maybe the strikers, but it's really nice to see that people are starting to realise what a crucial player she is to Arsenal. And another way for us to credit what a great recruitment that is as well.
Mm. You mentioned Kim Little. Izzy will come on to her a 1 year contract extension. Now, very rarely do Arsenal state the length of a player's contract. It's basically club policy on the women's side for them not to reveal how long a player is contracted for. Doesn't happen essentially, unless you're able to find it out through other means. So for them to say Kim Little, we've extended her contract until the end of next season. I don't want to tempt fate, but I do wonder if they've done that publicly for a reason to say it's a 1 year deal. People know exactly what the situation is. We know obviously where Kim is in her career. She's obviously had a couple of these injury issues this season. Does this signpost anything for you? I guess we're almost not saying it, are we? But because we don't want it to happen. But the elephant in the room is there. But I think it's a great move for her to be here for another year.
Yeah, I think so. I did wonder when they announced that, because obviously, as you say, we never really know how long these extensions are for. I did wonder if it was sort of signalling the beginning of the end, which obviously we don't want to happen because we love Kim Little. But yeah, I mean, maybe she wants to finish her career at Arsenal. She's about the same age as Renee, so she's been there for so long. I think she played her first game of professional football before Katie Reid was born. She's been playing for years. But she seems to just keep on going, and I think it's great that she's going to sign for another year, because I think some people were probably questioning whether this would be her last season. But I think they've been reducing her minutes a bit this year. She's played a bit less, and with Palova, who will hopefully be coming back at some point soon, got quite a strong midfield. So I think it'll be interesting to see how they kind of manage her minutes to make sure we get the best out of her for the next sort of season and a bit. And we've got Cara Cooney-Cross, who's stepped up so amazingly this year. So yeah, I think it will be about balancing those players in the midfield to get the best out of each match, and nice that we get to see a bit more of Kim Little, because I can imagine that possibly when she stops playing football we won't hear a lot from her, because she's not a very public person. And so yeah, good that we get to make the most of our captain for another season to come.
Yeah, and I think should she retire at Arsenal, Arsenal are going to have to do all the work to give her a send off, because she's not the type of player or character, is she, that's going to come and say, everyone applaud me. It's very much going to be wanting to keep under the radar, as she often does as Arsenal's long-standing captain. Yeah, 34 years of age, so 35, I guess, by the end of next season. Doesn't feel like crying out for retirement, does it? But she has played a lot of football. She's seen everything. She's been around the world with it. There was even that one summer, wasn't there, where she played NWSL just because she didn't have any international football to play, and she just wanted to keep her fitness ticking over, and that was in her 30s as well. Her longevity, Daisy, is remarkable as a player, and she should be, such a great role model, I'm sure, even if she's not going to be playing as much in the coming season. She'll be so valuable to have around the squad.
Yeah, 100%. And I can only echo everything that's already been said. I think it's 100% a decision probably based on a couple of people that were sort of not criticizing it, but a little bit reluctant. I saw that we first announced it. But I think definitely with the situation with Palova has probably made that, like as you said, probably made that the decision a bit easier as well, because she knows that she wants to continue playing. You can see that from the sort of promo that the club's done, and I think it's going to be hard to kind of get to just lose her, and especially when she's been injured, her minutes are dropping, and we're not got Palova coming straight back in yet. it seems like that injury is taking a little bit longer than we thought for her to come back. So it's nice to be able to have that other option. Maybe, like you say, bringing in some of the youngsters who can obviously learn from Kimmy, and who better to learn from. So it's really nice for them to have that, and sort of give them chance to come into this side. Maybe Arsenal might look at recruiting in the summer as well and bringing new people in, but also you don't have the pressure of new people having to automatically replace Kimmy should she have left at the end of the season. So I like that decision a lot. I think it's clever, and I think it kind of shows Arsenal's intent as well to say, well, you can keep going for as long as you can keep going, I think, and it's not going to be like you say, they might even extend it further. So we'll see how that goes, but it's always a pleasure to have someone who is so incredible and also still so much at the top level when she plays. You wouldn't know that she was 34, not like 34 is old, but there's going to be people who hate me for saying that. But in terms of football, it's you look at that and think she could still play those minutes, and she obviously has suffered with injuries, but she still plays at 100% every time she plays, and it's testament to the character that she is. And at the end of the day, she's just a fantastic person to have at the club, and an incredible captain. And I don't want to think about the fact that we're going to have to honour her leaving one day. So thanks, Arsenal, for giving us another year to prepare for
Yeah.
that. We'll just dwell on that even further.
Yeah, when I did West Ham v Arsenal, I think in October, November, Renee's second game, one of the press officers came up to me and said, "Just to let you know, we've done a recount on Kim Little's appearances because I think they had presented her with something, or maybe had not marked the occasion. I can't remember how many it would have been. Would have been 350, I think it would have been 350 back then. And they said, oh, it's actually a 350th game today. It's come earlier than we thought because we've done a recount because they had, so much old game stuff to go through it, and they'd actually had to do a recount of her appearances and then realised, oh, hang on, this is a game number 350. It's been that long that we've lost count of how long she's been playing for, how many appearances she's made. So yeah, quite a remarkable player. Just to finish up, Izzy, we'll start with you here. The Gooner hitting the streets on Sunday. Super exciting to reveal that. Can you just talk us through the announcement video to reveal it? I had this idea a few weeks ago now in terms of playing on Renee's video, and she said, "Can you ask me that again, please?" And you brought that to life. Can you just give the listeners some insight into how we launched the Gooner Fanzine's first Arsenal Women print edition?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think we all loved that announcement video for Renee because it'd been so highly anticipated, and it's still one of my favorite reveal videos the club's ever done. Sort of still laugh every time she says, "Can you ask that one more time, please?" And yeah, Freddie said it to me on the train on the way to the Meadow Park, and then I had a little think. I was just playing around on my laptop and gave it a go, and yeah, managed to find lots of messages and tweets about people who were keen for a print version of the women's Gooner, and yeah, brought that to life, added some music, and yeah, managed to use a little clip of Renee from that announcement video, which is great. I mean, I think I've probably watched it over 100 times from editing it so many times because we kept making small changes. But yeah, super exciting when that went live to see the reaction and see that everyone was just as excited as we all were to launch that project because yeah, it was exciting to be part of. I loved writing that article that went in there, and about Amanda Illistet's journey back from maternity leave, who I think we'll probably still see more of and hear more from, hopefully. Well, I'm hoping so anyway. But yeah, hugely good reception on Sunday for the Gooner. I'm really excited for everyone. Yeah.
Yeah, it was one of those things that went down really well on social media, and then you sort of wonder how that will translate into real life and the actual sales. But obviously, there's a difference between putting on a free fanzine and then going to print and having to charge money for it. But we were only able to do this because we knew the Arsenal community would get behind it. We knew there were people, as you say, messaging and tweeting and saying, "Can we have a print edition?" We can only do this because the demand is there, and the demand, it turned out, was so high. I think we had 8 people selling it in the end, and most of them sold out. I lugged a big box up to Derby on Monday, and I've already been selling a few of those to sort of friends and family. Obviously, family can have a couple of free copies. That doesn't come across well that I'm selling them to my own family, saying that publicly. So I've given a couple away to them. But obviously, if you do see me at games in future, I will always have a few of them in my bag, a little bag, and Daisy, you'll be selling, Leif will be selling, Jamie's been helping us out as well, and various other people. A shout out to Beth McCowan, Adam Salter as well, who helped us out selling them on Sunday. And as you say, Daisy, just I mean, you were there to see people with them walking around the ground. The messages, the tweets, the Instagram posts that were just pouring into us, and seeing how many people were getting a copy was just amazing, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was honestly, it was fantastic, and it just added to, like I said, the whole day, like everything about it. What a perfect day for us to choose to do it, I think, in terms of the effort that went into the day behind the scenes for the fans, the atmosphere, and then obviously the game as well itself. So yeah, honestly incredible. And it seems like obviously us doing this podcast and putting some faces behind the Gooner team and people getting to know us. I had people speaking to me in the pub saying, "Oh, I watch the Gooner podcast." I think that's incredible. So I do feel like a little bit of celebrity, but also, I mean, it's even fantastic. I'm just thinking I had to pay for my copy as well. I'm starting to think maybe we should have got a free one, but I'm gonna have to say to Laith maybe we could have a little extra one. But no, it was 100% worth it because I know the effort that went into it and the time that everyone and every single person that contributes, that helps sell it, that puts in the effort, like yourself and Laith as well, and obviously the rest of the writing team. It just is a great group of people, and no one loves a collectible or memorabilia more than women's football fans. So we
Mm.
definitely appealed to that as well, which I think people are crying out for still in general. We're have to gonna get t-shirts, hats. We're gonna have to go to a new level now. But no, it's just incredible to be able to do that and to be in the position to sell it. Outside the Emirates as well, and I was trying to take photos of it pretty much everywhere, in front of the pitch, and next to the Leah Williamson mural in the tunnel. So it's just great to be able to see that, and obviously testament to all the hard work that went into it. And yeah, nice to hear that it's been well received by people, and just getting to speak to people about it in general is fun.
Mm.
Like I said, the people that I met who came from Denmark, and they were reading, I think it was Lumi's article about, travel,
Yeah.
like people traveling and it being more than a game. So it's nice to be able to share the stories as well in there. And yeah, always a pleasure to work with the team on something that's turned out so incredible, and hopefully, we can do that again in the future.
Yeah, well, I think the demand was there previously, and Sunday, me and Leif were absolutely delighted. So I think we can safely say this is not going to be the last print edition, which is absolutely fantastic testament to your hard work. And yeah, there's a pint or two with your name on it in Madrid, Daisy, on the subject of having to buy one. Susie didn't even buy one because she was so busy doing all of her photography duties. So there's still need to get one to her. But I think we've had people from Canada, Spain, the US ordering them there. Nagore, who wrote for us in our first online issue, I'm going to give her a copy when we go out to Madrid for that game next month. The demand was just amazing, and I think you are spot on. I think there is this. In the women's football culture, I think there is that demand for collectibles. We see sort of stickers and stuff like that can do really well, and I think as well, this is where getting the front cover right was so important. And Mia Silva, who designed that, again, it was Leif's vision, which she brought to life. Obviously, Ruth Beck's back cover, the watercolor of Khloe Kelly. It's just come together absolutely brilliantly. We're absolutely delighted with it. It's a lot of hours, hard hours that go into it behind the scenes, and a week later, Leif had put together a new one for the men's team, which is just remarkable. How him and Serge, who I should give a big shout out to, our production guy, who's in charge of putting all the pages together and the text, the pictures, all of that, and obviously Susie's images as well, of which I'm still going through. She sent 300 from Sunday
Yeah.
on Variety. So yeah, we're absolutely delighted. Do drop us a comment as well if you're able to get your Gooner, and I'll put a link to how to buy them online in the description. But I think for every Arsenal women game in the foreseeable, we will have somebody there selling. So just keep an eye on social media for that. Yeah, just super exciting. And Izzy, a big shout out to you for your in-depth piece on Amanda as well. Very well researched, and I think people have said that's a bit of a favourite. I saw John Williamson, who's a very loyal Arsenal fan, was praising you for that, which was great.
Yeah, that was quite nice to see on there, and even the Spurs fan I was sitting next to in the press box sent a message saying how much he'd enjoyed the fanzine and he wants to take out a subscription. So we've even managed to convert him. But yeah, I loved writing that piece. I think kind of all came sparked from asking Renee about Amanda's return when we were at that Meadow Park game, and it was great to look further into it. And I think I could have kept going because there's so much on the topic. But yeah, loved that, and so many other great articles in there. It's kind of quite timeless, which is great because it means that people can keep reading it the next few games and stuff. But yeah, such high praise from everyone that I spoke to, and I can't believe how many people have messaged on Twitter or put stuff up about it. So yeah, it's great, and like congratulations, Freddie, for all your hard work on it as well.
No, a privilege. It really is. I mean, the Gooner Fanzine's been going, for people who don't know, since 1987. So obviously last year we've done the first issue dedicated to the women's team. We've done two more that were all online, and then because the demand was there, we've done the first ever print edition dedicated to the women's team. So it's happened very, very quickly, which is a sign of, just the demand for Arsenal women and this kind of content skyrocketing. And yeah, it's just a great team effort all round. Everyone is owed a drink or two, and I'm sure we'll find time to do it in the next few weeks. And it's certainly still very much looking forward to Madrid. So the international break now. I'll be at Meadow Park for the West Ham game. Same for Everton, and then off to Madrid as well after that. Well, it's Liverpool as well in the FA Cup, isn't it? So lots to look forward to. Lots to look forward to in the international break as well. England against Portugal and then Spain. There'll be plenty of Arsenal involvement. We might see obviously Mariona Elia Cadena playing at Wembley as well. So lots to look forward to over the next couple of weeks. Are either of you at Wembley?
Yeah,
I'm able to get down.
yeah, should be there as well. Looking forward to that. I feel like it's been a while since the Lionesses. I'm not sure it has. I think it was the US, wasn't it, at Wembley? But that was November now. So actually,
Yeah,
it's
it
been a
has.
couple of
Yeah.
months. But yeah, it definitely feels like it's been a little while. But I'm excited to see that. Obviously, England v Spain. Obviously, we haven't
Mm.
seen that. So we won't talk too much about that. But we haven't seen that for a long time. So I'm interested to see how both teams have obviously developed since then. And obviously keep an eye on the Matildas. I think are in the a She Believes Cup or
Yeah,
something
against the
to that.
US.
So yeah, that should be interesting. Lots of people to keep an eye on. But yeah, exciting stuff.
Yeah, need to get everything into my calendar and get some football watching in. There we go. Well, Australia Japan tomorrow night is a 10 p.m. kickoff. The USA 1 a.m. on Friday, and then we've got a load of games involving Arsenal players on Friday evening as well. From Austria Scotland at 5, Spain Belgium quarter to 6, Switzerland at 6, Denmark, Sweden. So I think it's just Stina in that one. Obviously, Katrina Kuhl's left, so we don't have that Denmark interest, and all the other Swedes are injured or not in the squad. Ireland, Turkey, 7:30. Then the England game at quarter to 8. The Netherlands, obviously Van Domselaar playing in that at the same time, and then Norway away to France. So I love international break for an Arsenal women's social media perspective because people are just flying around everywhere, look trying to keep up with everything, and we'll certainly be able to do that as well. So look, finally, both of you, thank you for all your efforts on Sunday. I was gutted to not be there at the Emirates Stadium, but Izzy, you've done a great job. That being your second game, on your own at the Emirates Stadium, and Daisy pitch side as well. Just a good afternoon, a good day for the Gooner as a whole. So well done to you both.
No, definitely. Yeah. Thank you to you for all your hard work. And it's just a great team that we have. So very, very grateful.
Yeah, loved Sunday, so thank you so much. And yeah, hopefully we'll all manage to get to the same game together at some point.
Yeah, that is the aim. That's the aim. Hopefully, Madrid.
Madrid, there we go.
But
Well,
yeah.
have to try and get the tickets first, but we'll see.